The place is Paris. The subject is global warming. The goal is the strongest agreement yet to rein in rising temperatures. What could be difficult talks on the issue began today.
On this first day of the conference, we have our backs against the wall.
The summit opened with a warning from its host, French President Francois Hollande.
The wall is built on all our egoisms, our fears, our resignations. This wall is built on indifference, recklessness, and weakness. But this wall can be scaled, and it all depends on us.
In all, 151 heads of state and government converged on the French capital. They're hoping to finalize an accord on reducing heat-trapping emissions of greenhouse gases. But the Paris attacks loomed in the background. As President Hollande argued, the problems of climate and security are linked.
There are two big world challenges that we have to overcome because we have to leave our children something more than a world free of terror. We owe them a planet preserved from catastrophe.
To underscore that point, after arriving last night, President Obama paid a visit to the Bataclan Concert Hall, one of the sites of the attacks. Today, he was among the first to speak, and he spoke hopefully of a turning point on more than just climate.
Let that be the common purpose here in Paris. A world that is worthy of our children, a world that is marked not by conflict but by cooperation, and not by human suffering but by human progress. A world that's safer and more prosperous and more secure and more free than the one that we inherited.
A similar effort collapsed in Copenhagen 6 years ago, but this time many countries committed to action in advance. Last year, Mr. Obama pledged to reduce U.S. carbon emissions by 26 to 28%, below 2005 levels, over the next decade. And China, the world's largest greenhouse gas producer, has said it will slash emissions by at least 60% by 2030. For any deal to be meaningful, India, the world's third largest emitter, would have to make solid cuts as well. But Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi said today, developing nations need room to grow.
We have to ensure, in the spirit of climate justice, that the life of a few does not crowd out the opportunities for the many still on the initial steps of the development ladder.
Chinese President Xi Jinping, speaking at the summit, echoed that concern and called for addressing economic differences.
Countries need to increase dialogue, exchange best practices, and achieve common development through mutual learning. At the same time, countries should be allowed to pursue their own solutions that best suit their respective national conditions.
The U.S. joined Canada, Germany, Italy, and others today in committing $250 million for poorer nations. President Obama also announced a private sector initiative led by Microsoft founder Bill Gates and other billionaires to boost investment in clean energy. Still, any broad agreement in Paris will not take the form of a legally enforceable treaty. But German Chancellor Angela Merkel called for transparent, credible commitments.
Wir brauchen hier einen Rahmen für ein UN-Abkommen.
We need a United Nations framework that is binding, and we need binding reviews. We know that the agreements are made voluntary, but it's important that we also stick to what we have promised.
The Paris conference is set to run through December 11th. We'll explore what's at stake in Paris in detail after the news summary. And in